Let me give you the single most valuable piece of truth about long-term relationships that no one talks about. The idea that moving in together is the natural, easy graduation of romance. It is a complete, destructive myth. Living with a woman isn't romance. It's a psychological exam. And here's the kicker: she doesn't announce the test. But the moment she moves in, the silent evaluation begins. She starts scanning your entire life. How you handle your time, your ambition, your discipline, your emotions, your boundaries. Every single action becomes a question. And your answers determine everything, whether she stays in genuine admiration and respect, or whether her mind slides into that deadly, relationship-killing abyss of contempt. Most men walk into this exam blissfully unprepared, mistaking surface-level comfort for long-term security. They trade their drive for togetherness, thinking submission proves devotion. That one mistake, that slow erosion of the self, is why so many serious relationships eventually collapse and leave men blindsided. But you don't have to fail. If you understand the one non-negotiable rule of cohabitation, you won't just survive this phase, you will master it. I'm going to hand you that rule today, right here, right now. Before you make the biggest, most irreversible mistake of your life, pay attention. We've established the lie you thought moving in was the finish line of romance. But the truth is far more brutal. Cohabitation isn't just about proximity or splitting bills. It's about power. The moment you merge spaces, you are stepping into a new dynamic that silently shifts the balance of the relationship, placing your very worth under continuous, microscopic evaluation. What men see as convenience, sharing rent, waking up together, women instinctively experience as control. It's not malicious, it's an evolutionary instinct. Women have always been environment shapers, security seekers, nest builders. The house is not just where she lives, it's the stage where her psychology takes the lead. This is the trap most men walk into. You think you're upgrading intimacy, but what you're actually doing is volunteering for a silent negotiation of authority. Every decision, every compromise, every small habit becomes a referendum on who leads and who follows. She's not consciously plotting against you, but her psychology is always measuring. Is this man firm or is he pliable? Is he leading or is he drifting? And that's the brutal irony. You move in expecting more closeness, but closeness without clarity becomes suffocating. You wanted warmth, but you find yourself in an invisible battlefield where every detail, how you spend your time, how you leave your shoes, how you pursue your goals, becomes ammunition. You thought this was love's next chapter. In truth, it's the opening act of a test you never signed up for. The hidden transformation. The mask comes off when you're just dating. You both wear a mask. She chooses her best angles. She curates her presence, deliberate, charming, agreeable. You do the same. You hide the bad moods, you filter the flaws. Why? Because in that phase, you are both auditioning for long-term acceptance. But the moment you live under the same roof, the performance ends. She no longer feels the need to win you, she has you. And subconsciously, that flips a switch. The selective, charming version fades. What replaces it is raw, unfiltered psychology. Here's the truth men overlook. When the mask comes off, her questions change. Before, she asked, "Do I love him?" After moving in, her question becomes, "Can I manage him? Can he lead me? Is he strong enough to withstand my storms long term?" She stops assessing your potential as a boyfriend and starts evaluating you as a life partner. And the criteria are far less forgiving. You think cohabitation will deepen intimacy, but intimacy without boundaries doesn't create love. It creates exposure. Every flaw, every undisciplined moment is no longer dismissed as a quirk. They are evidence. Evidence of whether you're a man she respects or a boy she'll eventually outgrow. Men assume that comfort is the prize. They believe once she sees the real them, she'll love them even more. Wrong. Comfort without authority breeds contempt. Because in her psychology, the moment you relax, the moment you lose that edge of leadership, she doesn't feel closer. She feels less secure. And when a woman feels less secure, she respects you less. What you thought would make her love you more, in fact, accelerates the erosion of attraction. Here's where men and women split in their psychology. For a man, moving in feels like a victory. It's proof he's chosen. He sees cohabitation as the reward for winning her heart. In his mind, he crossed the finish line. But for a woman, that moment is not the finish line. It's the starting line of a new evaluation. She shifts from attraction mode to assessment mode, scanning every detail of your life as evidence of whether you're built to lead long term. This is why men so often get blindsided. They interpret her new behavior as nagging or changing. But it's not random, it's evolutionary. She's asking, can this man protect me, provide stability, and maintain authority in the years ahead? And this is where the tests begin. They are not accidents, they are her psychology at work. Every woman, no matter how loving, runs these tests. Whether you pass or fail determines the lifespan of her respect for you. 1. The test of boundaries. It starts small, where you leave your shoes, how you spend your evenings, whether you text back quickly. On the surface, it looks harmless. She just wants things neat. She wants order. But what she's really testing is whether your word carries weight. Do you stand firm on how you live? Or do you bend the moment she frowns? Fail here, and you train her to believe that your boundaries are flexible. And once that belief sets in, the tests escalate. 2. The test of ambition. She'll crave more nights in, more togetherness. Sweet on the surface, deadly underneath. What she's watching is whether your drive can withstand comfort. Will you still pursue your mission, or will you abandon it to keep her happy? The moment you give up your path for her, attraction begins to die. 3. The test of emotional control. Arguments multiply once you share a home. She will provoke you. Sometimes intentionally, sometimes without realizing it. She wants to see if you can stay grounded when the storm hits. Explode in anger, and she feels unsafe. Withdraw into sulking, and she feels bored. Only calm, steady leadership builds respect. 4. The test of masculinity's authority. She'll push against your role as the leader over finances, household decisions. Even trivial details like the thermostat. It's not about the issue itself, it's primal. She's asking, am I with a man who can hold the line, or a child I'll have to manage? Failing these tests doesn't just chip away at attraction. It annihilates it. Because in her psychology, every failure confirms one thing: you're not the man she thought you were. And nothing kills desire faster than realizing she cannot trust you to lead. When you live with a woman, you're negotiating power. There are 5 areas you can never afford to surrender. Lose them, and you won't just lose her respect, you'll lose yourself. 1. Your time. The moment you cancel gym plans, skip essential work, or abandon your schedule because she wants just one more night together, you've surrendered the most precious asset you own. Time is the measure of your discipline. If she can bend your time at will, she knows she can bend everything else. 2. Your emotional state. If she can provoke you into sulking, rage, or emotional collapse, she owns you. Men often mistake vulnerability for dumping chaos. They confuse openness with instability. But once she sees she can push your buttons and control your mood, she no longer sees a man. She sees a dependent, and attraction doesn't survive dependency. 3. Your finances. Money is power. And in a shared home, it becomes the backbone of authority. Collaboration is one thing. Abdication is another. If you let her dictate how money is earned, spent, or saved, you've surrendered your frame. A woman who feels she's managing the resources eventually asks, if I'm running the ship, why do I need him at all? 4. Your social life and mission. Too many men shrink their world once they move in. They stop seeing friends, stop networking, stop expanding. Suddenly, their only circle is her. And the smaller your world becomes, the smaller you become in her eyes. She doesn't want to be your entire universe. She wants to orbit a man with gravity beyond her. 5. Your personal boundaries. This is the line in the sand. If she screams, disrespects, invades your privacy, and you tolerate it, you've declared yourself furniture. You've told her she can treat you however she wants, and you'll stay. Respect dies the moment you allow that. Once you lose these 5 powers, you stop being a man she follows. You become a man she manages, and the fall from one to the other is irreversible. Most men don't notice the collapse until it's too late. They mistake red flags for normal couple problems, hoping things will work themselves out. But when you live with a woman, ignoring these signs is fatal. Each one is proof that respect is already slipping away. One casual disrespect, it begins with subtle sarcasm, eye rolls, interruptions mid-sentence. Soon she's mocking you in front of friends. Understand this: when a woman no longer fears disrespecting you, she no longer respects you. And respect, once gone, rarely comes back. 2. The slow death of intimacy. In the early days, you couldn't keep your hands off each other. Now, excuses pile up: I'm tired, I'm stressed, maybe later. You convince yourself it's just a phase. It isn't. Intimacy is a thermometer of respect. When desire fades, admiration has already died. 3. The home stops feeling like yours. She redecorates without asking, rearranges furniture, rewrites routines. One day you realize you're a guest in your own house. That's not partnership, it's colonization. 4. Isolation from your mission. She doesn't ban your goals outright. Instead, she distracts you, guilt trips you, pulls you away from your path. Slowly, you trade progress for comfort. Years slip away, and she doesn't even thank you for the sacrifice. 5. Endless conflict with no resolution. Arguments recycle like broken records. The same issues resurface again and again, never solved, only draining. Every fight chips away at your authority until you're too exhausted to lead. 6. She weaponizes the relationship in arguments. She drops lines like, "Maybe we're not meant for each other." The breakup threat becomes a tool. The moment leaving becomes her bargaining chip. She's already halfway out the door emotionally. 7. You feel less like a man, more like a roommate. You no longer lead. You negotiate. You seek her approval for decisions you once made with confidence. That's not love. That's emasculation in slow motion. Face these signs, or accept that the end is already underway. Silence here isn't peace, it's surrender. Here's the truth that separates men who thrive in cohabitation from men who get destroyed by it. Never give up your frame. Your frame is not about ego. It's the foundation of who you are, your mission, your discipline, your values, your boundaries. It's the structure she either respects or dismantles. The moment you surrender it in the name of peace, the relationship begins to rot. Men tell themselves compromise keeps the love alive. They think bending proves devotion. But in her psychology, every time you yield against your principles, she loses a little more respect. She may thank you in the moment, but deep inside, contempt grows because she's testing, always testing. And your submission tells her you are not strong enough to lead. Understand this: a woman can love you and still leave you, but she cannot respect you and walk away. Respect is the glue that holds everything else together. Without it, intimacy dries up, admiration vanishes, and what remains is silent resentment. Keeping your frame doesn't mean you never compromise. It means you never compromise the core. You can adjust plans, you can listen, you can collaborate. But the non-negotiables, your purpose, your emotional balance, your values, must remain immovable. Because if you can't stand firm there, she can't trust you anywhere. So here's the one rule: never hand over your frame. Not for peace, not for comfort, not for her approval. Because the man who cannot walk away is the man she cannot respect. And if she doesn't respect you, it doesn't matter how much she loves you. The relationship is already dead. We've covered the entire battlefield. Living with a woman is about stepping into a psychological war zone where every detail of your life, your habits, your time, your mission becomes evidence in her mind. Evidence of whether you are a man worth following or a boy she can manage. Most men fail. They confuse compromise with strength and peace with submission. They hand over their boundaries, their ambition, and their emotional balance, thinking it will make her happy. It never does. Because what she craves isn't comfort, it's respect. And respect doesn't come from bending. It comes from holding the line. So remember this one rule, the only rule that matters. Never give up your frame. Your frame is your identity, your mission, your core as a man. Without it, you are nothing but a placeholder in her life. If you're not ready to enforce boundaries, don't move in. If you think living together will fix problems instead of magnifying them, don't move in. Because once she enters your home, she enters your psychology. You can survive without love. You cannot survive without respect. That is the dividing line between men who rise and men who get erased. If this message hit you, hit the subscribe button and share this with a man who needs to hear it. The battlefield of relationships is littered with men who thought love was enough. Don't be one of them.